Hello, welcome back to another poddy. This time I'm talking with Jamie Nowell. He's a musician who has recently started freelancing and teaching music to kids in school. In this pod we're talking about music teaching, learning instruments, schools, hobbies, and also lots of anecdotes as well. So if you're ready, let's go. Things where you think like, oh, it's a bit like weird and like what are people going to think, but you gotta just ignore that, haven't you?
Yeah, you have. It's getting over that first stage, I think, isn't it? Of thinking it might be weird, and then
I suppose you felt like that with your music sometimes. And
yeah,
like you feel a bit like self-conscious about it. But
yeah,
like, it's sort of good, isn't it?
That's
sort
it.
of good.
That's it.
So I didn't know that at all that you'd started doing teaching.
Yeah. It's a bit of a curveball, maybe, I guess. So
yeah.
So when COVID hit, I was still in Hull, which is where I went to uni.
Right. Yeah.
And I was in a band, really enjoying it, but just working in a shop to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, I want to do more. I've been doing some theatre stuff. I want to do more of that sort of thing, but I really enjoy music. Wonder if I can tie it in together.
Yeah.
Then of course COVID happened, so I moved back in with my parents, thinking for a bit. I'm still there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moved back in for a bit, and then just worked at Waitrose for a time to pay the bills. Just the first job I could get.
Yeah.
And then from there, whilst I was there, I hated it. Not because the place was bad, but
not for you.
Yeah, I was like, I want to be doing. After I've been doing all that cool stuff, I want to be doing that again.
Yeah.
So then this job came up at the company I work for.
Yeah.
Teaching. Just like part-time initially, and I thought, I'll give it a go. It's something music related. If I don't like it, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So did that, and then really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, technically I am freelance, and I've had more different times. I have more different things going on. At the minute, it's a bit quieter, so I'm doing more teaching. But it's nice to have that to fall back on, and it still feel.
I see. So you can kind of like music's there when you do it, but you can also just help out generally.
Yeah. Is
it like an agency thing then, or?
Sort of, yeah. So there's like, do you know like the Lincoln Music Service?
Yeah. I've heard of it. Yeah.
So that what they do is send teachers out or tutors out to schools, and then like while they're there, they'll teach however many lessons. And it's a similar setup, just a different company. So like one morning a week I'm in, like so Monday morning I'm in a school and I'm doing all keyboard lessons, small groups. Then in the afternoon I'm in doing like whole class primary ukulele teaching. So it keeps it varied, you know.
Do you really enjoy like working with kids?
Yeah. I never thought I could do it or that I'd be any good at it, and I don't think I'm amazing. But one of the benefits of doing it how I, like you're kind of like the fun music teachers coming in, so you get a bit more respect anyway.
Like all those cool teachers from Christ that were meant like.
Yeah,
it's like Hugh was saying, because Hugh did a bit of TA work. Like,
right.
Yeah, and he was saying like he's really enjoying it. I hope he goes back and does it at some point because I think he's so good at that.
Yeah,
I can imagine he's minted it, but like, he still keeps in touch with like what's her name. Miss Guyon, was it?
Oh yeah, from the drama teacher.
And Miss Knowles as well. Like, still keeps in touch with them, and like they're like good mates. So, but yeah, they were like the cool teachers, weren't they?
Yeah. and that's the thing. I feel like you're maybe more likely to get on if you enjoy the subject, and B, if the teacher is a bit more relaxed,
I suppose it's like there'll be some kids who aren't bothered at all, but then there'll be the odd kid who's like really into the music, and like you can like sort of help them out a little bit and give them little tips and stuff.
That's it. And if there are any who are like, I really want to do this more, I definitely like push them and say, go for it, because it's because I think one of the reasons it took me so long to find my way to do what I wanted to do was like, in my head it was like, you're either a pop star or you're not doing music. And I was like, well, I'm never going to be a pop star, so there's no point. And then as soon as I started to get a bit older, I was like, oh, there's all these options.
You sort of, when you're younger, you have this like, that's so true, man. You have this like unrealistic view of like how you get to be involved in music.
Yeah.
And like, I remember when I was like And I was kind of like because when I did sixth form, I just kind of the first year of it, I just didn't like. I basically just found out who Aphex Twin was, and I was just like, I can't do anything else now. Like, I want to be him.
Yeah.
And I thought the only way to do that is to like go straight to the top, like you said. Like, I'm going to be like that. I'm going to make loads of music. It's like, well, people find multiple ways of getting to where they get to.
Yeah.
And, like, there's no like clear cut ways there. So.
That's it. Different times and things as well, isn't it?
And it's also like what's actually enjoyable as well. Like,
yeah.
There's so many things that you wouldn't sort of expect would be enjoyable, and then you do it, and it's like, actually, this is like really for me. Like,
yeah.
It's mad. I suppose you just got to try it.
Yeah. 100%.
Where did your music interest start then? Like, how long have you been into it?
Well, I suppose it started as a kid.
Yeah.
Because my dad is a piano teacher.
Oh right, really?
And freelance. I guess we do like a similar job now.
Yeah.
So he has always been like a freelance musician and music teacher in the county. And so when I was younger, I had piano lessons with him, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then I stopped them for a bit, and then like similarly, I guess I was too young to really appreciate it. I remember starting Christ, and then I must have been like year 8 or something. I was like, I want to do piano again. I want to get back into it.
Yeah.
So I did piano for a long time. Did it right up to sixth form.
Yeah.
Then I didn't end up doing it for uni. A couple of things happened. The AS level, went wrong. I don't know if you did. Maybe.
I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
You just jogged something in my memory now you've said that.
Yeah, me and James were the only two on the course, and we basically got taught the wrong stuff.
Taught the wrong course.
Yeah, like the year before syllabus. so we opened the paper, and it's like and it's like, oh, all these songs that we have to like talk about, never heard them.
Okay.
So it's like, what devices is Beethoven using in this piece? I'm like, well, I don't know.
Don't know, mate. Never listened to it.
You're gonna make a guess.
Fuck's sake. So annoying.
So that happened, and then so I didn't take it I didn't carry it on into year 13.
Yeah.
And I think I just thought I was a bit of I thought, oh well, that's it. I'm not going to do music again. So I did drama at uni, but then every show I did on my course, it was always like, oh, we need a bit of music for this. Oh, we could do with this. And I was like, oh, I could put some like, oh, I could record this.
Yeah.
So like always found its way back to me.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, you know.
Yeah.
And then
It's always been there.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's the same for me. Like with my work at Pyramid, like there's certain like we'll make a YouTube video, and it's like, what should we put on this that's not copyrighted? It's like, I can just make something, and then I'll just go home and make something and bring it back and bang it on a YouTube video or something. It's just like wherever you can find your little use for it. You do it, don't you?
Yeah. So is it like art and design? Your kind of
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like product design, really.
Right.
Industrial design. So we basically just make. We'll get like a new bike comes out, like Yamaha make a new motorcycle, and we'll go, wow, there's a new bike. Let's buy that bike or borrow it or whatever. And then we'll look at it and go like, what does this bike need that other bikes have that this bike doesn't have? So maybe like the mudguard is like a little bit short, so we'll make a longer one.
Right.
And then people will buy it as like an aftermarket part. So yeah, my dad's been doing that since 1986.
Wow.
And me and Adam took it over like pretty soon after I finished school, really.
Sweet.
So I started there, and then he came to join us like my brother 2 years later.
Right.
And we've just been like giving it some bastard ever since.
Yeah.
It's actually really fun. Like,
I bet.
I've really enjoyed it, and we're lucky because like he controls the sort of management side of the business. He's like the main honcho.
Yeah.
And I'm like just designing basically.
Yeah.
And I've just recently got like a new lad who's started, who's gonna like do some. He's done a bit with me so far. Like he's learning how to do it, so sort of pass that on a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah.
Nice job.
And I suppose different orders come through, so it keeps it
different.
Varied,
and I get to like design something that I've never designed before quite regularly. Like test myself, and it's an interesting marketplace. It's all old boys, obviously, that buy the stuff, but they're nice people. Like, I was just speaking to one the other day, and he like rode over on this big BMW, and I was like, went outside to look at the bike because it's the bike we're interested in. and he was just like, started talking loads about this crazy job he's got, and I was like, do you want to do a podcast? And he was like, yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So it's just amazing how many people are like up for it.
Yeah.
But I've messaged with loads of people, and obviously some people who feel a bit like, ooh, not sure about that, what would I say, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you're quite like up front, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've always been like that, haven't you? So.
That's it. Yeah, I think that's the way to be. Try and be open about stuff, and people tend to be open.
Let me just read this now, 'cause I was going to leave it to the end.
Okay.
But it's something off your Instagram, so I've stalked your Instagram, obviously.
Oh no.
No, it's nothing you said, actually. It's a
Oh,
quote from someone else. It's Anthony Hopkins' quote.
Okay.
And it's, none of us are getting out of here alive, so please stop treating yourself like an afterthought. Eat delicious food, walk in the sunshine, jump in the ocean, say truth that you're carrying in your heart like hidden treasure. Be silly, be kind, be weird. There's no time for anything else.
Nice. Will
Yeah.
someone put that on my...
You put that on Instagram like 5 years ago.
Oh, no, right, okay.
That's how far I went back.
Yeah.
But I read that. I mean, I love Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
And like I read that and I thought that's quite a cool thing. Like it's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Like to just do what you want to do.
Yeah. I think that's just the way to live, isn't it? Just like...
Yeah.
And also, I try and be a kind person as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because I just think there's no... Like, we're only... How long are we going to live? Like, 80 years, 100 years would be amazing.
Yeah.
But really, I've not got time to be hating anyone.
It's not fun, is it?
No, that's it.
It's not a nice way to feel, is it? And obviously, yeah, if you can just get on with people, it's just more fun, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just going to have... Everyone's going to have a much better time.
Who are the three main artists that you're like inspired by, musicians?
Oh, awesome. Okay. That's an awesome question.
If like, at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment. So I'm let me get my Spotify out. And let me see who I've been, because that'll when you have these conversations and then afterwards you're like, oh, why did I say that person?
Yeah. Let's look at your Wrapped.
Yeah. Do you know my Wrapped last year? I did this show. I played bass for a theatre show in November, and Barbara Dixon was like the main singer. So I was listening to a lot of the songs on Spotify that I was driving around and like practicing to them. Yeah. So my Spotify Wrapped came out and it was like, you're in the top 0.3% of Barbara Dixon listeners.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. Fuck's sake, I got that with the Arctic Monkeys last year.
Did you?
Those new albums they've done that are a bit like odd.
Yeah, the car. It's
the car, yeah.
One,
and Tranquility Base. I just buzz off those, but yeah, not many people do.
Yeah. So then you instantly bump up, don't you?
Yeah.
When it's something niche. So yeah, at the minute. Yeah, so I've been listening to a lot of bass stuff. I've been listening to... there's a guy called Bill Evans, who's a big jazz pianist. Yeah. He did lots of like trio albums back in the 60s.
Right, cool.
Did this one, Sunday at the Village Vanguard, which I really love. And this bassist on it called Scott LaFaro, who... really prolific jazz bassist, but then...
Double bass sort of thing.
Yeah. And they were doing all these recordings at the Village Vanguard. And then when they released this one... he was driving home from that gig and had a car crash and died.
Wow.
So it's like his last...
That's his last thing.
Yeah, and I think moments like that suddenly become bigger than what they are,
Yeah.
Because if he hadn't died and he'd gone on to do 30, 100 more albums...
It would have been lost in the past. Wouldn't have been so prominent.
Yeah.
That's mad. That's cool.
So yeah, that's one...
So you're interested in like the history of the music as well?
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Researching
especially with jazz. I mean, jazz is where my heart is, and I think so much of it is through like tradition and that sort of thing. So yeah, and that's something I really try. I'm trying not to do too many tangents, but that's
don't worry about that.
Cool.
I like that.
Free flowing.
Yeah.
That's something I try and impart to the kids. Like I'll always listen to songs with them. And we'll try and pick out bits, and I'm like, why do you think it sounds like that? A song from, like, if we're listening to the Beatles, I'm like, why is that drum beat different to when we're listening to Tame Impala or something like that?
Yeah.
And trying to get them to think about...
Almost like the recording sound of it, and like how they played it. And
absolutely.
Because Tame Impala's drum beats are like very punchy, aren't they?
Yeah.
And like most of the Beatles drum beats are quite like laid back in the background.
Absolutely, yeah. And thinking like, I always say to them, in the 60s, what are the resources they had to record versus today, and how does that affect the narrative of the song, you know?
You watched the Beatles documentary?
Yeah.
Oh
man.
That's insane.
Isn't it?
It is so good,
Isn't it amazing?
I watched it once and then went to France and watched it with my mum as well.
Yeah.
She was just like, this is mental. And I was like, yeah. This is just like, it's just like an insight into...
Yeah.
It just blows open all those, like, all the, like, crap that people talked about them.
100%.
They're just a band at the end of the day, weren't they?
Yeah.
Nailing it.
Yeah, yeah. And that bit when George walks out, it's so understated. He's just like, I think I'll be going now. And you're like, did the Beatles just break up? What?
Yeah, it's like the biggest band in the world. They're just like, yeah, see you in a bit.
Yeah, because to them it was just like...
Playtime.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to pick another couple of artists?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Alright, so there's this. It's another piano, bass, drums trio.
Yeah.
Fergus McCready, he's quite a new artist, Scottish pianist, and me and my dad went to see him last week in Barton. Amazing, just an amazing gig.
Yeah, sick.
It's really nice. The special thing about that was on stage, like the first set they did 2 sets, and the first one was 45 minutes, and it just didn't stop. Like they played 3 tunes, but they just segued into the next one.
Yeah,
but the communication they had on stage, the dialogue that was going on,
oh man,
just
fully like in time with each other, fully it's amazing that, isn't it, when they've been playing with each other for so long.
Yeah,
it's just like different level of.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Chili Peppers, like
John
and Flea and Chad. I love watching those jams that they have, like at the end or at the start of a gig, and they're just like flowing off each other, and they've done it so many times that they know what's happening.
Yeah,
it's just mint, but it always sounds pretty. It's always like interesting to watch.
Yeah. I think like those kind of like musical conversations are really interesting, right? Because someone will throw something in and it takes it in a different direction.
Then someone else reacts to it.
Yeah. And who knows what's going to happen next? So exciting, isn't it? But
it's an art, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because like obviously you can't just throw stuff in constantly.
Yeah.
So like it has to be like considered. So like it's like, okay, he's got something he's locked down with. I'm going to like do this slightly different, and then he can maybe react to it. And like it's cool. It's cool stuff. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's something I was going to say there. Oh yeah, the old jazz stuff. I used to love listening to old jazz stuff because I used to sample it a lot.
Right.
For like hip hop stuff.
Yeah.
And I used to go back to Mono. I've got loads of vinyls upstairs that I need to take back to him because I've just got no use for them now.
Yeah.
But I used to go there and just buy records, like old school style, buy them, go sample them at home, and then like make beats with them and stuff. But
so what would you do? Like record? I'm such a noob when it comes to like production stuff. Would you like record straight from the vinyl player to like your Mac or something?
Yeah. So like I'd kind of like listen to it once or twice.
Yeah.
And then I would like find the bits that I liked and just sample those bits into the computer and just save them.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would just spend like a couple of months literally just doing that, not making anything, and then I'd go back to it and then just sort of drag it out as like a library from the folders and just make like beats, put like hip hop beats on top of them and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just like I was like really into like lo-fi hip hop, like
yeah.
after school, like really buzzed for it.
Yeah.
For like a really short while, and I was like, I just did it to death, so it was just like got a bit
bored
in the end.
To it anymore.
Yeah, I can't listen to it now. I literally can't. Like I've just done it basically. So
I know what you mean with that kind of music. Like I feel like I've heard loads of lo-fi hip hop, and I remember discovering it and being like, "This is the shit."
Yeah.
And then after a while, you're like, "Oh, it's just
samey."
Yeah.
Some people do some interesting stuff with it, but like, it's generally quite like simple and very basic. It's like it's probably like the easiest type of music to make, apart from like ambient drone music.
Yeah.
It's probably like the easiest type.
And I guess like music production equipment's so accessible these days. You know, you could do it on GarageBand or whatever.
Do it on an iPad.
Yeah, 13-year-olds have that. So like,
yeah, it's like Hugh's brother Owen I spoke to recently. He said he produces it all on his iPad.
Yeah,
makes a beat and like he reminded me of like the guy from the Streets, Mike Skinner.
Yeah.
How he just the music's almost like, yeah, I've got a nice sample or whatever, but it's the story I'm telling sort of thing on top of it. So I suppose it's different, yeah. It's cool how different music can be.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I saw Owen actually. I saw him. He was at an open mic night on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I was randomly, I didn't even realise it was an open mic night.
Yeah.
Because it was like the first one they were doing, and watched his set. I've never seen him perform, not since school.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Nice.
He's got such an amazing
attitude, energy. Yeah, it's amazing. I love how up for it he is.
Yeah.
He's done some good tunes, man. Some really nice tunes, but it's just it's cool. Yeah. Is there any other artists you wanted to mention?
Oh, go on. I'll give you one more. Then.
Give me one more.
This guy's my phone background. John Patitucci.
Right. Yeah.
He's played with like Chick. He's another bassist. Played with Chick Corea back in the like 1970s, 80s, 90s. But so many people, and the thing I love about John Patitucci is I watched it the other day. I was over half term. I'd gone out the night before. I was really hungover. I went on YouTube. I watched a masterclass with him. It was like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I was like, "There's no way I'm going to sit and watch an hour and a half YouTube video." And I just did because it's so amazing.
Just drawn in.
Yeah, because he plays upright bass and 6-string electric bass for like fusion stuff.
Like Thundercat.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's just like all over the genres, so good, and I'm just like, how do you do it?
Yeah. Just spent his whole life smashing the bass.
Mm-hmm. And then he did this masterclass, and it was these kids in like uni students, I guess, in America, and they were like, right, we're going to play this song first, then John's going to come in, and they played this song, and it was incredible. These musicians were like shit hot, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And what's he going to say? Like, how can he say? And he came in and he tore it apart in a really good way.
Yeah.
But just his perspective, I was like, I just could never have thought about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I love meeting those kinds of people where you go, oh, okay.
It just like changes you, sort of. You realise something. I know what you mean. Yeah. I like listening to people talk, like listening to podcasts, and someone will say something, and it's like, shit, I've never thought about it like that. Mm-hmm. And I love that moment is meant. It's the same kind of thing, I suppose. Like, yeah, it's cool. I've got loads of music questions, but I think I'll just switch around a little.
Yeah, we can jump back and forth.
What do you like about Lincoln? What don't you like about Lincoln?
I love the small town feel of Lincoln.
Yeah,
I've always felt like safe here.
Yeah,
which is, there are unsafe areas, but I don't know. There's something about it when I walk through. I've lived in Hull for a bit and obviously visited other cities. There are areas where I think, oh my god, I don't like this at all. But there's something about Lincoln where everywhere I go, I just feels good.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Just so used to it.
Yeah. And I think some of the people who either are here or end up here, they're all really like amazing champions of the people in music and the arts that I've met. All really want to push it forward, which is cool. But then on the flip side of that, one of the things I dislike about Lincoln is or Lincolnshire as a county is so spread apart. So true.
Yeah, you have to go so far to meet people.
Yeah, it's nice being on the doorstep of the countryside. Love that. Love when I'm like driving between schools for work, that it's like I'm like driving through the wolds. Amazing.
Yeah.
But then at other times I'm like, oh, there's something on in Stamford I want to see. Oh, it's going to take me like an hour and a half to get there, or whatever,
Yeah, man, I know what you mean. I mean, it's funny. Like I've always lived in villages and stuff, but I did live in Lincoln for like 2 years before moving here.
Yeah.
And I miss it already. Just like, I mean, even Lincoln has got a bit of a buzz about it.
Yeah.
And like, it's just nice to be where stuff's happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know what you mean. It's Lincoln's cool. It's probably a nice place to get old.
That's what I think. Yeah, I always want to get, if I do move away, I want to come back. when I'm older,
Yeah, that's it. What things outside of music inspire you?
Ooh, do you know what? I love driving.
Really?
Yeah, I never thought I would. I never thought.
I never thought. I wouldn't expect you to say that.
It's not.
I'm actually a boy racer. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a petrol head. No, I tried to learn to drive when I was like 18, 19.
Yeah.
And absolutely hated it. Like, I was
Didn't get on with it.
Sweating before every lesson. Total anxiety. Thought I'm never going to drive. And then I came back to it when I was a bit older, maybe like 22 or whatever, and I was much calmer, and then just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And then last year I did an advanced driver course, and that was just so much fun. Just getting to go out with like an instructor, because they did Lincolnshire Police did a thing where like they recognised. The amount of accidents happening in the county were mainly 16 to 24-year-olds.
Right.
So if you were between those ages, you could do an advanced driving course for free. And I saw it just before I turned 25, so signed up.
Yeah.
Just because I thought it might bring my insurance down. Yeah. But yeah, got just like once a week would go out on a drive. We'd go out like sometimes like around this sort of area.
Yeah.
Normanby, Foldenworth, all that. On the country roads and that.
Yeah.
Just loved it. Just loved learning how to drive.
Was it just you and one other person then?
Yeah, and he was really nice, my instructor, and he was into cars as well. So we talk about stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's nothing I feel like if I'm ever stressed or anything, just going out for a nice drive, just really just take.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's cool. That's
way.
true, actually. Yeah, it's good to like. Sometimes me and Gemma do that. Just go out for a drive. It's nice to just look around and that, isn't it?
Yeah.
See what's happening.
Yeah.
I suppose if you just sat in your house, you're just like, oh,
yeah,
don't feel great. I'll just go out and drive, or go for a walk or something. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I know what you mean. Driving is really fun, actually. I might do that advanced driving thing. That sounds cool.
It's definitely worth it. Like, even if you're a really good driver, it's just like it's like good fun. I think to.
What did you used to find anxious? Like, what made you anxious about it then in the past? Like, just like other road users, and like if you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I'd feel the pressure of I'm driving a death machine and I might kill someone, And the first instructor I had over in Hull was I'm sure he was a great instructor, but we didn't match very well personality wise.
Yeah,
he was quite sarcastic and stuff, and a bit rude, and I was just.
Yeah,
I didn't need that in that kind of situation at the time.
You needed like help with it, and like kindness and that. Otherwise, you're just gonna be fucking shitting it.
I was just like overthinking everything. But what were you gonna say, man? Sorry.
I was just gonna say I've come at it from the other way because my dad's like grew up on a farm and was like driving stuff when he was like 10.
Mm-hmm.
So like he let me drive his car when I was like 12 or something, and like so I've had to like bring myself down a bit and like go through a few near misses to like realise that I'm a bit mental. Do you know what I mean? So I'm alright. I think I'm good driving now, but like at one point when I was younger, I mean, loads of people would say like it was pretty scary getting in the car with me. So I just did crazy stuff.
So when did you pass your test? When you were quite young, I guess.
Yeah, I passed my test like in sixth form.
Yeah.
I think I was like the first person in our year to have a car.
Nice.
And everyone wanted lifts and shit.
And what was your first car?
Little white Corsa.
Nice.
Little 1998 Corsa,
wow.
I think it was.
Yeah.
It was cool, yeah. I think James was quite soon. Turnbull was quite soon.
Yeah,
after
the little
me.
green KA,
yeah. I miss those shit boxes.
Yeah.
They're so fun. I might just get something like that again, to be fair. It's good fun.
Mine at the minute, I'm driving a little Skoda Fabia.
Yeah.
It's 56 plate.
Yeah.
I just rag it about.
Yeah, exactly.
Matter,
that's what I like about them. You can just abuse them a bit.
Yeah.
It's just fun. But yeah, I like driving a lot, to be fair. Yeah, so that was that. Another question. I'm just terrible.
Yeah,
I need to like have this. I think I need to have this like open all the time. Maybe I just need to print it out so that I can just reference it quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
no, it's cool, man.
Unprofessional.
Never coming here again.
What TV and film do you like?
Oh, awesome.
Or at the moment, or big things you love from the past?
Do you know what I've really enjoyed that I watched recently was the Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings. Have you watched it?
I've never watched any of the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people are going to hate me for that.
Yeah, hot take. No, do you know what? I was hesitant to watch it, and I'll tell you why, because it came out the same time as House of the Dragon.
Right, yeah.
The Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And I love Game of Thrones so much. I've watched the series like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So when that came out, I was like, I'm going to watch House of the Dragon, and I'm going to wait until I watch Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to confuse myself. I've only got a little brain. I can only cope with one thing at a time.
I don't believe that. Yeah.
Thanks, mate. But yeah, so I mean, House of the Dragon was cool, but yeah, Rings of Power, absolutely blown away, because I heard lots of mixed reviews.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think maybe because I think maybe it's the diehard fans who hated it because it like moves away from the books a little bit. I'm not entirely sure.
Goes off on its own tangent a bit.
Yeah. Whereas me, someone I've read the original books, but I haven't read a lot of other things that J.R.R. Tolkien's done. So for me, I was just like, oh, it's cool to have more
stuff.
Yeah.
Carry on the story.
Yeah. And the production value is just insane. You know, all the shots are amazing. So tonally, it feels like the original films. So
nice. That's important to me. How something feels. I like stuff that feels really realistic. It's weird. I like stuff that's like really gritty. Like, have you ever watched Top Boy?
No.
That is awesome. But what I love about it is it's just that it's obviously like about like Londoners who are just like doing drug gangs and stuff. But like I just love how gritty it is. It's just like you can imagine that actually happens, and like don't know why, but it's just really like I couldn't believe how good that was. And Brian Eno makes the all the music for it.
Oh, sick!
The guy who played with like David Bowie. And stuff. And the music's like really like ethereal and like ambient. Yeah, I love that so much.
I'll definitely have to check that out.
It's cool, man. It's good. But yeah, I need to watch Game of Thrones, to be fair. I don't know why I've never watched that.
Do you know what? I think the most amazing thing about Game of Thrones is it's so like the character development in it is just unreal. Like nothing else I've seen goes into that much detail. Yeah. And when I was rewatching it like the back end of last year, I was like halfway through season 4 or something. I was just thinking, I'm not racing towards the end every time. Yeah. I just love every single episode. It's just so good.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah, I think the thing is, it's like there's so much stuff out there.
That's almost a problem these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like you can't, like when you say this, it's like, I mean, there will be things that we both watched and really liked, but like there's so many things to pick from, and it's hard to like go, oh yeah, do you like this? And it's like, no, I've never heard of it. And then like, oh, I've watched this and you've never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'll go back and watch it at some point. And then it's just like, it's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would you rather play live or on your own? Would you rather play live or on your own? Would you rather play live on your own or in a band?
In a band always.
Yeah.
I think, because I think the most amazing thing about doing anything live, whether it's like theatre or live music, is like the communication you can have with the audience, and then when you can bring more people into that.
Yeah.
That's so special. Just like what we were talking about with the jams earlier, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Bit more predictable when it's on your own, because you've got certain things that you do, certain songs you're going to play, and that.
That's it. And I mean, it's safer that way, but I think we should nudge ourselves towards the uncomfortable.
Yeah. Definitely.
Whatever happens on stage happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to do more. I'd like to put a little band together and do more stuff.
Yeah, man.
But it's just hard finding people, especially like playing jazz stuff. I've posted on.
I'll get involved.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, let's do it.
I can play a bit of guitar and a bit of bass and a bit of. I can't really play keyboard, to be fair. I really like synthesizers, but I can't.
Yeah.
So what you were saying earlier about that you're not like that into the production side of it. You're more into like I'm the other way.
Yeah, right.
I'm like the technical production side of it. I love that. Recording stuff and manipulating it and stuff is great, but like actually becoming good on an instrument is just like I've always found it really hard. It's weird. I don't know. I just can't. I'm just not inspired to learn it. It's weird. It's really strange.
Yeah, and I think it's a big commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And as well, these days there's so much online of like people on Instagram who are just phenomenal musicians.
Yeah.
So you scroll for a couple of minutes and you go, oh, what's the point of me trying? Like,
you follow that guy with the Zeppelin, the guy called Zeppelin something?
Yeah, Zeppelin Barnett or something.
Yeah, and he plays like a whole song on a guitar.
Unreal, man. Unreal.
You see him and it's just like, fuck it. Like, I'm not ever going to be like that. But I suppose, everyone's got a different... I like the playing live. It's amazing how, like, if you just know a few songs and you can play some simple stuff on an instrument, if you're in a band, you kind of support each other, don't you?
Yeah, that's it. When was the last time you played anything like that? Was it back in sixth form, do you reckon? Or?
Probably, mate, yeah. Like, went to a few pub things and, like, played guitar with some people, like, playing like Jimi Hendrix with a guy on bass and a guy on drums, and that was pretty fun. That was in the pub in this village, and they're closed now.
Right.
That was like, man, I don't even remember. But I really wanted, every time I see a band playing live, even if it's just like a pub band, I'm like, oh shit, I'd love to be up there doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I always want to go up and like say, can I play for a tune?
Yeah. We should definitely put something together, man. That'd be cool.
Man, that'd be it. That'd be sick if we had like, did a bit of jazz, like did something like 3 people or 4 people or something.
Yeah.
Just played some like little groovy things, mate.
Yeah. Get some lo-fi beats on there.
Yeah. Do a few of those numbers. Oh man, it's so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love playing music so much, to be fair. I just don't do it enough, but I dip in and out of it,
Yeah, it's finding the time, isn't it? Making that time.
Yeah.
And if you've got other stuff going on, then it's hard to
it's funny, like, you got to be inspired to do it, and like, it's mad with this podcast thing. I think I've found something that I'm gonna carry on doing for a while, because it's just like, it doesn't feel like work at all.
Yeah.
Get home and like I want to go and start editing an episode, or like
great
get someone lined up for another one, like, which is cool. Like I just love I just like how it's kind of like it grows itself by talking to different people. Like you end up, people listen and they go, oh, like, this is mad, but Ryan Tuxford messaged me this morning.
No way.
I only spoke to him once in school, and he was like, man, I listened to like your one with you. I was like, that was sick. And I said to him like, my day ain't even started, mate, and I'm like smiling my head off.
Yeah.
Like, and it was just like totally random, but
yeah. I think that's one of the amazing things about technology today, is that stuff like podcasts, where you can hear someone, storytelling's always been amazing, hasn't it, throughout
the ages.
Yeah, and so to be able to do that in such a unveiled kind of way, I guess it's really
cool. Like a real personal way. It's like someone's kind of earwigging on what's happening.
Yeah, and I think you get a lot out of that, because again, like what we were saying earlier, this is a cool callback. See, get me on again, I'll get some references. No, definitely. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, when you I've lost my thought now because I was bigging myself up. No, that was it. People who you see them, like, maybe they're celebrities, or maybe they're in the line of work you're in, and you think, wow, they're just naturally so talented and amazing at what they do. Then you hear a story like this, or in this kind of medium, and you go, actually, they have put the work in, and they're not that different from me. Maybe I can do it. That's really cool.
Yeah. I think if you find something that it's right for you, then you just do it.
Yeah.
Like, you just do it without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it sounds like the same for you. Like, if you found your way of doing music and making a living.
Yeah.
And like, if you can keep pursuing that, then you'll be all right, because you enjoy it.
That's it, man.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? It's a nice thing to find.
Yeah.
Do you ever find it hard keeping your nerve, like, on stage playing live, or are you all right?
Do you know what? It's taken a long time. There's a lot of gig stories where things haven't gone to plan, especially when I was younger. I mean, I suppose that's the blessing of having opportunities to play live when I was younger.
Yeah.
So you kind of learn those, learn how to cope with those things. But yeah, I definitely have memories of, and you know what? One of the things that really put me off playing like classical piano is everything with classical piano is so rigid that I feel like if I was to go wrong, I wouldn't know what to do. And I have this really distinct traumatic memory. It's not traumatic, but it's not good.
Not a good one.
Memory of like playing for prize giving at school in the school hall.
Yeah.
And I was playing this piece, and I was just like sweating and panicking and not knowing what was going on. And I had like 2 pages left, but there was a bit that came to like a natural end, and so I just stopped there.
Yeah.
And everyone started clapping. And I was like, I'm not doing any more like that.
See the bit.
Yeah. And so I wonder if that has urged me more to more like improvised music, where you know,
you can kind of get it wrong and still kind of blend it in a little bit. Like, I know what you mean. I like improvised stuff. I was saying to Owen the other day, like, I love not knowing what I'm doing with music. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's kind of the reason I don't like learning the instruments too much, is because I like the kind of mystery of it.
Yeah.
And kind of fumbling about, like recording a bit and then deciding to like go and find a shaker and like record that, and then like it's weird. I don't know how to describe it, but it's kind of like a bit of like, it's kind of like play. It's like play when you're a kid, like you're just messing about, having fun. Yeah. And like for me, like I've got a job. I make money there. So when I do my music, I can kind of just do what I want.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to take it quite seriously. Like, I need to do this, I need to do that. Nowadays, it's just like playtime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, it's good fun, I think. Yeah.
I think that's the best thing about anything, but music particularly, is like the more it can feel like play.
Yeah.
The more it should do. You know. I definitely think I've been playing with this soul band at the minute, and we do a lot of like funky stuff, but also jazzy stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of opportunity to take solos and things in that. And again, it just feels amazing. I feel like I've got a good group behind me, so I've got room to explore.
Yeah.
You know, so it is fun.
What do you play for them?
I play a bit of upright bass and a bit of bass guitar.
Right, nice. You get to change it about a bit during the set.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. How's it different playing upright bass? No frets, obviously.
Yeah, it's the fret thing doesn't scare me that much. But it's the actual physical technique is really difficult.
Looks quite tiring.
Yeah. The other day I practiced for an hour. My shoulder was just absolutely killing me.
Really?
Because all the time you're keeping the elbow upright, you know.
Yeah. You're left-handed, aren't you?
No, I'm actually right-handed.
Are you right-handed?
But apparently my mum always says that when I was in primary school, I was left-handed, and they taught me to use my right hand instead. Right. Because it would be like more useful or whatever.
And you had a right-handed guitar.
Yeah. They knew what I was going to become.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, no, playing upright. It's I enjoy the challenge of it, and I enjoy. I feel maybe a bit more expressive sometimes with it. I think.
Double bass.
Yeah.
Because there's like a bit more freedom on it.
Yeah.
It must be quite. I mean, it's nice, like a double bass solo. It's nice how it kind of like wanders off and like almost sounds like a little bit out of tune.
Yeah.
It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, and that getting that tune in sort of, you know, it's a bit more sort of tasteful, I suppose. Than
I've been looking at like, have you heard of like polytonal music or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Where it's like they'll, instead of having like 12 notes in the octave, they'll have like 19.
Yeah.
And like it'll be like really odd like increments.
Yeah, have you seen those like microtonal guitars as well? They've got
microtonal,
like a ton of frets and stuff. And
it's
just like, what is
it's just mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like I love that on synthesizers. Like I've set my synthesizers up sometimes so I do that. It's quite hard to get it actually because like not many of the like instruments that you can get, like, you know, like Korg instruments or Roland instruments, like they don't actually have that in them. You can't do it.
Right.
But like I remember I set it up once on like a synth where like the filter, you know, if like you just turn everything off but the filter and you just get that like woo noise.
Yeah.
You could just like pick points on it. So I would like pick points and then just like the keyboard would have no resemblance to a normal keyboard, but you just get these like mad sounds.
Nice.
And it was like, it sounds fucking nuts, but like it's so
chaos
fun.
Music.
You feel like you just don't know what you're doing. And it's just like, it's cool. Yeah, I'd like to play live. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
We
should set something up.
Yeah, man. If you're doing something and come along for a jam and like see what you're playing and that, 100%.
Yeah.
Bring some instruments. Yeah. So what instruments can you like play a bit of? So bass is like your main instrument, is it?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. So I like I say, I played classical piano as a kid.
Yeah.
I and I got to like grade 5 or 6 on that. And I still play piano. I keep my chops up to a degree. Like I would never accept a professional gig, but it's useful, I think, to have it. Especially like I really enjoy, and I'd like to do more musical direction for theatres and stuff. For like musicals and things. But you really need to be able to play piano for that. So I just like to keep my hand in. But yeah, so bass has been my main for a long time. Just because something about it clicks with me. And then over lockdown, I learnt to play guitar a lot better because I never really could do guitar that well. And I thought, actually, if I learn to play guitar, it's probably going to help my bass playing, which it has. And B, it'll give me tools as a teacher, you know, because like I have a lot of private guitar students. Because people they're not that bothered about learning the bass necessarily.
It's the guitar, isn't it?
Yeah.
The guitar is so much more like appealing.
That's it.
To like someone who isn't that into music.
That's it. Yeah, if you're not really sure, most kids you say a bass and they're like, "What is that?"
What's the point in that? You can't even barely hear it.
So I play guitar now as well. Again, I wouldn't.
Just to facilitate that side of it, really.
That's it. 100%.
They go hand in hand. I mean, I started on guitar and ended up playing a bit of bass, and I actually feel more comfortable on the bass. Yeah. Because I suppose it's simpler in a lot of ways. Yeah. But like depends how you do it. But it's nice to be able to just hold a groove in a tune or whatever, isn't it? Like it's quite a comfortable place to be. Yeah. Speaking of the Beatles, that tune, I think it's like I Got a Feeling. It just plays A, doesn't it? The whole time. It's crazy. It's like, well, chill out, like. Yeah.
That's a great tune.
What are you playing, Paul? I'm just playing the A, the whole tune, mate. Yeah. Just chilling, mate. So easy.
He's like sipping a cup of tea with his hand, just.
Is there any instruments you want to play that like you haven't ever played before? Or
I'd like to play the saxophone.
Yeah.
I listen to, in terms of like artists, I listen to that don't play instruments I play that I really am inspired by. It's always saxophonists.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where like I think in a few years I would like to do that, maybe start it as a hobby and then who knows where that would take me. Yeah, saxophone, I think that'd be cool.
I suppose you can only do so many.
That's it. I always think, I'm like, oh, maybe I could buy one and get some lessons, but I'm like, I've only got a certain amount of hours in a day, and at the minute I need to be getting better at the stuff that I'm actually supposed to be playing, let alone...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you need it, don't you, I suppose?
Yeah.
This is a bit of a curveball. Is there anything you don't want to talk about? You're all right?
I didn't think so. If there is, I'll go.
What are you on about, mate?
Yeah.
No, seriously, just say.
Yeah.
Just say. How did you get on with your parents when you were growing up? Other family members?
I have a great family. Yeah. I really do have a great family. That's one of the things. I guess that's one of the things I like about Lincoln, is that most of my family are here and they're all really supportive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my parents split up when I was quite young.
Yeah.
So I never really knew them together. So.
Me too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's.
It's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
At that age where it's kind of like you don't know any different.
That's it. Yeah. It's just the norm for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then, like I say, my dad is a musician, so we always get on really well with that. And then my mum and my stepdad on the other side, I get on really well with them.
Yeah. It's cool, isn't it? You get that like kind of. I've got that as well, where you've got like step parents and stuff, and it's like kind of like it.
Yeah.
It's cool because like you've got these different perspectives that you wouldn't normally have.
That's it. Yeah, and you maybe find this as well. If I've got something going on and I need advice on it, it's nice to have different.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know who can help me with this one.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm thinking of like my dad's wife, Carol. She's just like really lovely person and like really like glad that I know her. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't know her for any other reason than that. So it's kind of like it's cool. I think. Obviously, families are mental, aren't they? But
Yeah.
especially when there's lots of them. But,
Yeah.
like, it's all good fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all good fun. You got to get on.
That's it. Just like we say, you might as well get on. And I got on really well with my cousins.
Yeah.
On my mum's side when I was younger, because I never had any brothers or sisters.
Yeah.
And so, like, if my mum was going out to work before I started school or whatever, or like after school had finished before she'd finished work, I'd hang out with my grandparents. So particularly my two oldest cousins, Josh and Ollie, are both. Josh is like a year above me. Ollie is like a year and a bit below me.
Yeah.
So the three of us were quite close in age, grew up liking the same stuff, hanging out. So that was really nice, you know. And I was best man at Josh's wedding last year, that sort of thing.
Wow.
So
it's kind of like brothers, really.
Yeah. I feel like part, and they've always made me feel like that. So that's really nice.
That's cool, man.
So,
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I've always I've got one brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always really, my dad's side. His brother Chris, their son and daughter, I've always got on with them really well. They're cousins, and they live in Australia most of the time, so I don't really see them. But they've been over quite recently, and it's just instant connection from when you were younger. You know.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Cool. It's nice to have that.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely.
What's your attitude towards work-life balance?
Interesting.
Has it changed over the years?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think doing a job I love makes a difference. But then also, I'm quite as a person, I really hate being bored. I hate sitting around and not doing much.
Yeah.
On a weekend, I really do not like being hungover, because I want to get up Saturday morning and start doing stuff. Get things done.
You want to be clean living.
Yeah, that's it, man.
I know what you mean. I feel like that.
Yeah. So actually, I don't know. It's weird because on a night, let's say I get in from work, I'll practice music for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and some people might say that's work, because I guess it technically is. You know, it's always helping me get better. But then I never see it that way. But that's just the kind of person I am. But yeah, I suppose for example, when I worked at Waitrose, if ever they wanted to keep me a bit longer or something, and I was always I'd push back against that, because I'd be like, I'm not here to live my life. Stacking
This is just work.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's tricky, isn't it?
Maybe the job you do affects that, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think so. There's been times when I've not 100% enjoyed what I do. Just because there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But not loads of pressure, but you put pressure on yourself when you're the main person doing something. But yeah, it's sometimes it's funny. I'm a bit up and down with it myself. Sometimes I can be really happy with how I've got it balanced, but sometimes I'll just abuse one part of it, and then I only realise 2 months later I haven't done anything with anyone for 2 months.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
I need to kind of keep that balance. Otherwise, I'm not going to be happy, am I? So it's a tricky one to get right.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle with it.
I 100% see what you mean, man. Me and my best mate from uni, we talk about that a lot. How we'll go through times of really head down, work, and then exactly what you say. I haven't seen anyone, and then it'll go the other way. I can't never seem to get it right
going
for a long amount of time.
Consistently.
Yeah. I'm I haven't hung out with anyone in ages. What's going on? You know, feel like a terrible friend. But then on the flip side, I'll have a week where I go out quite a bit, and I'm knackered. What am I doing? You know.
Yeah, you sort of have too much of it.
Yeah.
If I talk to someone for too long, it's if I go out and with a big group of people, I just get a fucking headache. Sometimes, because I haven't done it for so long. My mind's firing in so many different ways. It's just I need to do this more regularly so it's more normal. And
and I guess we're at an age now where we start to do less of that stuff. But I certainly feel. I mean, sometimes the thought of going out, I'm I really cannot be bothered. But then I tell myself, I'm you're still in your 20s, you should go and enjoy this while. And I have that kind of battle going on of am I doing the wrong thing, you know?
Yeah.
Should I be going out and trying to enjoy myself more? should I just accept the fact that that's not me? You know, and
everyone's different.
That's it.
Everyone's different. I mean, I remember listening to one of Rob Brydon's podcasts, and he was saying like he's always been the kind of he says he thinks he's lived his life the wrong way round a little bit.
Right.
So he feels like he was acting like an older person when he was younger, and now he's acting a bit more like a younger person.
Right.
And it's mad.
Yeah.
And it made me think like, I'm probably a bit like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm happy to just like nose to the grindstone, like working all the time. Probably get to a point where I'm just like, I'm sick of this. I'm gonna just go and have fun all the time now. Piss about. But yeah, I suppose it's different for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no one right way of doing it. Especially like the way the world is now.
Yeah.
Like the amount of things you can do.
So many different lifestyles and all sorts, isn't it?
It's mad. It is crazy. Right. What's this is like a pretty random one. What's your earliest memory, if you can remember?
Oh, okay. Earliest memory. I remember being like, I think it's maybe like 5, and at my grandparents' house, we hung out a lot. They had a wooden, like one of those wooden train track sets.
Yeah.
And I picked it. You know, they had like the hole and then the other bit, like the
wooden. Yeah. They clipped them together.
And I thought, can I fit this on my finger? So I put this bit of wood on my finger, and then I couldn't get it off.
Yeah.
And I remember like my grandparents like putting like butter on my fingers or like soap to try and get it off, and I ended up in hospital because they had to cut it off. Not my finger.
We're gonna have to cut your finger off.
But I remember being in this hospital bed, and it must have been like a kid's ward or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had. Do you remember the band 5?
Yeah.
They had like posters on the ceiling of the band 5, and
Wow.
so I remember them saying like, "Look up, who's your favourite one?" While they were like chopping this wood off my finger. What an idiot!
That's amazing that you got your finger stuck in it.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a design flaw from the
yeah.
employers.
I'm gonna sue.
Shit, man! I didn't think that'd be possible. I remember a similar thing. Like, it's weird. The only reason I added this question to the list this morning because I was thinking about. Gemma asked me it recently, and I was like, I can't remember. And then I did remember what I think it was, and it was like, I remember having a Christmas one time. I must have been like 4 or something, and I got like a Hot Wheels like thing with a shark on it.
No,
like you put the car through the shark and it goes down the track.
Oh, cool!
I was like, shit, yeah, that was like so long ago.
Yeah,
like, I can't. It's such a hard question to answer.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't. I don't think you can really answer it accurately.
No, and I always think like, don't they say with memories like the thing you remember is the last time you remembered it. Yeah. So your brain is like Chinese whispering itself. So it's
changing the story a bit.
Yeah, and I always think, how much of that am I picking up from what people have told me throughout the years? You know, my mum retelling me the story, my grandparents retelling me the story. So yeah. I think that's my earliest memory, but who knows?
Do you think about big stuff like that, like philosophy and like big questions about like consciousness and stuff?
Yeah.
Do you think about it much?
Yeah, I do quite a bit.
You interested in things like that, like on YouTube and?
Yeah. I don't spend a lot of time researching it as much as I probably would like to.
Yeah.
But I was saying earlier about my mate Jake in Hull. He's really big into that sort of thing. So I always really like chatting to him about it, and if I ever have any problems and I talk to him, he's always offering me that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We went to see Russell Brand last year.
Really?
That was
wow.
That was
I like
really
Russell
interesting. Brand. Yeah. It's an awesome show.
Is it like a show or like a stand-up thing, or is it kind of a bit of both?
Yeah, a bit of both. Both.
Like a lecture almost.
Yeah. Like this woman was she had a baby and he was crying a bit, and he was like, oh, come through to the back. You go and sit in there. You know, to listen from there. It's really cool.
Nice guy, isn't he?
Yeah, really nice guy. Yeah, and then he did some jokes, read out some stuff that happened over lockdown, but then would also talk about like he brought his dog out at one point. Yeah, just really cool experience, you know.
I love the juxtaposition between his like language and his like his voice.
Yeah,
it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Hello, mate.
Oh, what, mate? And then he'll say like something really long, like some long word that I just haven't got in my head.
Really profound.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just been on Joe Rogan, actually, and he's listened to that.
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah. He's a cool guy, actually.
Yeah.
He's gets a lot of stick, but it's because he's quite like flamboyant and like a bit crazy, and he like.
And I suppose he's like turned his life around a bit to a degree, hasn't he? You know,
he had addiction, didn't he?
Yeah. And I feel like my parents, for example, if I mentioned Russell Brand, that's what they think of. Whereas people like you and I, we know what he's done in the past sort of 10, 15 years through his YouTube channel and stuff like that. So we think of a very different person when
he's been doing that for ages now, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's been doing. I remember when it used to be called like the Trues.
Yeah, the True News.
Yeah. And I love how he just like kind of takes the piss out of like. He'll just like watch Fox News and then just take the piss out of it. It's just so simple but so effective. Look at this woman here. She's mental.
Yeah.
I love Russell Brand. He's a good lad.
Yeah, he's a legend.
So you say you studied music, like, is it like sheet music then?
Yeah, I
have done that.
Sheet music. Yeah.
And do you also learn things from like intuition as well? Or do you?
Yeah. So a lot of people I speak to, they're like on either side of the fence about this. They're like, I can't read music, and I'm never going to be able to read music, or like I know some classical players who, you know, you'll give them a piece of music and they can play it straight away, but then you start to think about improvisation and they panic and they can't do it. You know.
Yeah.
And I think I try my best to be in the middle of that, because I think reading music is a really useful skill that we can learn a lot from, and if we have a good understanding of music theory, then it only helps the like listening by ear stuff. Like a lot of jazz, in the jazz tradition, you will learn solos by ear. You'll hear them and then play them and then play along with the recording, for example.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll do. You know, I'll put on I'll hear a solo that I've listened to in the car. I'm like, that was cool. So I'm gonna transcribe that. And I go on YouTube, put it, it's like 0.75%. Like phrase at a time, sing it back.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But then having that knowledge of I'll be like, oh, that's a major triad or something.
Yeah.
So the two go hand in hand, really.
So you realise what it is, and you go, oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you've got a basic like rule behind it that you can.
That's it. That's
right,
it.
Okay.
So I never think that like reading music is bad or just playing by ear is bad, but I think the ignorance of one or the other is
silly.
Is negative. Yeah. When I have a couple of guitar students who are a little bit older, and I've said to them, we've looked at reading music, and I've said, I don't think that you're here to become the type of player who needs to be able to sight read things instantly.
Yeah.
But we're going to look at this because I think it's going to be useful for
to know it. Yeah.
Yeah, just to have a fundamental.
Both sides of the story.
Yeah.
Same as anything, isn't it? Really.
That's
you need to understand both sides of the story, don't you?
Yeah. If you can have the whole picture and a bit of an idea about everything, then it's just going to make anything easier, isn't it? Yeah.
My dad's wife, Carol, he sings in the choir that she runs.
Right.
And she plays piano sometimes, but she basically directs it normally.
Cool.
And she's like really like she's very on the sort of the written music, you know. Whereas I'm like the opposite.
Yeah.
And we always we don't butt heads about it at all, really. But like, it's just funny how her approach is. Like you say, you ask them to improvise something, and it's like, oh, just play something on the piano. She's like, oh, no, I need something in front of me.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I can't even read that. I remember she taught me a little bit once, and it was so hard for me to like follow it. But like you say, if you can do a little bit of it, then it's helpful, isn't it? That's
it. And I think one of the skills that you need as a music teacher is making that side of music accessible to kids. Mm. That's what I've found in the past couple of years is showing them that actually it's not this weird alien code, and it can be useful to us for playing, you know, Katy Perry songs or whatever they're wanting to play, you know.
It's all there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you find it like quite rewarding then teaching kids about music? Yeah, I really love it.
Yeah, especially like recently I've been doing a lot of stuff on rhythm, which is hard. They're like abstract concepts to grasp. And then once I've seen kids get that, it's such a nice feeling. It's like, yes, this is cool.
Yeah,
We're
seeing
changing the world.
learn something quickly.
Yeah,
yeah. That is mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It must be. I can't remember what I used to think of music. I used to love going in the music class, but like, cause my brother was like really into music and was in bands and stuff as well.
Right.
So that's where I get it from, I suppose. But like, yeah, I used to love just being around all the different instruments, you know.
Yeah.
Jamming with. I remember like jamming with. I can't remember if you were there. Maybe you were, but I used to jam with James Turnbull. Like, bring my guitar in, and he played drums, and I'd play guitar.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, we used to just go up in the music room when no one else was about.
Great memories of that, man. I think we did jam a bit once, but of course you guys, when we were younger, it was the J band and K band, right? And you guys were in the J band, so we didn't really cross over till like year 9 or 10 or whatever.
Yeah, I have very few memories of like interacting with you.
Yeah, we didn't really have lessons together, did we?
No.
Because by that time, I guess we were probably doing different options and that sort of thing. So.
And by the time you get to sixth form, it's like kind of everyone's in their own like groups of people, I suppose.
That's it. It's funny how you fall into that, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it becomes irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think at the second. Like, I went past your page. I think you posted something, and I thought that would be interesting to speak to Jamie. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I think it's cool. What other goals do you have in mind, like for the future with your music and stuff?
Cool. Yeah, great question. So yeah, I mentioned earlier I'd like to do more like musical direction for shows. I mean, I guess like pipe dream.
Yeah.
I would love to be like a session musician for like, you know, like you see Jules Holland hooting at it.
Yeah.
Love to be on there. So like artists come in and then I'm thinking like, how am I going to play this song, that sort of thing.
Being able to play with like different bands all the time and get involved. You know?
Really love that. Because I do, like I say, I do play for like theatre productions and stuff, and it's mainly like amateur stuff. But the music stuff is decent. You know, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same dots as what the guy in the West End's reading. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to find my way into that at some point.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to know. Like, so much of it is closed doors for networking and that sort of thing. So that's one of my goals this year, is to try and meet more people and network a bit more.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, like, am I in the wrong place living in Lincoln? Should I be in a bigger city? But then, at the minute, I'm really cheap rent living with my parents, so I'm in a fortunate position that I can, like, what my plan at the minute is to, like, find a city, reach out to a few people, visit it for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Have a beer, have a chat, whatever.
Yeah. Dip your toe in it a bit.
That's it, yeah. And then in the hope that maybe down the line they'll say, oh, I remember Jamie, he was a sound guy. Maybe he'll come and play whatever for this thing I've got going on, you know?
Yeah.
So
just introduce yourself a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good shout, man. Yeah.
And if like a jam session's going on or something, turn up to that and hopefully do a good job.
Yeah. Well, you keep practicing 2 hours every night, it will be banging, won't it?
Should be alright.
That's interesting. So, like, what cities do you think? Are you thinking of any cities that you'd like to travel to a bit or is it anywhere really?
Yeah, anywhere where there's anyone cool. It's just that first step, isn't it? Of like actually getting to meet someone. But I'm just thinking at the minute, if it's like anyone within any sphere, you never. My first last year, I did 5 theatre shows. And how that all started was one person who I knew at uni, who, probably like me and you at school, we didn't really cross paths, but she knew I played bass.
Yeah.
And she messaged me and was like, do you still play bass? I've had this gig offered to me, but I'm unavailable. So I did this one show, had a blast.
Yeah.
And then the MD said, oh, someone else I know is doing this, and it just came from there.
Snowballed a bit.
Yeah, so I'm thinking if I could just be like in the minds of people.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean though. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, put yourself forward just because you're showing that you love it.
Yeah.
And like people will think of you like, yeah, he was cool.
That's
like,
it.
It's like it's a good example of that, I think, is the guy who works for us now. He basically James is his name, he came and sorted out our website.
Right.
Our website was shit.
Right.
It was terrible. And he basically, Adam, my brother, he was like, right, we need to sort this website out. So he started speaking to companies that literally just websites that he'd used himself. So he used to be like into skateboarding. And there's this company called Roller Snakes that James used to work at.
Right.
And he rang around and said, can you like put me in touch with your website guy? I want to just know like how you've done what you've done and how you get that. So they put him in touch with James, and they basically had like a 2-hour conversation about everything about it, like the business in general and everything. So he just said, yeah, just keep in touch. And that was where it left it. And then Adam was like, that was interesting. So we were kind of in a phase of like working with another company on it, and we were like, to be honest, we were getting like overcharged and they weren't doing a great job. So 2 years later, James came and bought something from us.
Right.
Because he has got a motorcycle as well. And he basically said he rang Adam up and he said, I've noticed your website's not changed still. Like, what's happening? And we were just like, it's gone completely wrong. Like, we just failed with it basically. And then like a week later, we got like hacked by some random thing on our server.
Oh, right.
It wasn't that bad, but we got him to. We didn't know who to call, so we rang him and said, "Do you think you can sort this out?" And he was like, "Yeah," and he just sorted it out over the internet, basically. And then he basically said, "Do you want me to just come and like sort your website out properly?" And we were like, "Yeah, all right." And we gave him like a pretty decent wage straight off the bat, and we were like, "This might work, it might not."
Yeah.
And he's like really integral part of the business now.
Wow.
Like, it's changed the whole business completely.
Yeah.
And it's like you just said, like, we just knew that guy from like a very small moment in time.
Yeah.
And then eventually he ended up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now he's like, really important in the business. So it's like, you don't know who you're going to meet, do you?
That's it.
And people will remember you if they get a good impression. So.
Yeah. I think the most important thing is like being a decent person.
Yeah.
You know, in the music sphere, obviously, like you have to be able to play the music, but as well, if you're a dick, then you're not going to get.
Yeah.
And it's the same. I'm sure you didn't really know that this guy. You saw one website this guy had done, but as well, he just was an alright person.
He was just a nice bloke.
Yeah.
And like you say, he's so level with everyone, and like he's not biased with different people. He's just like friendly kind of chap. I get on with him really well. Like he's mint, and like you say, just be a nice person.
Yeah.
Just be available and like understanding for other people around you, and you can't go far wrong with that.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go wrong with that.
I reckon so.
Yeah, definitely. Anywhere you'd like to travel you've never been? Have you travelled much in your life?
No, not really, no. I'd really like to. I'm going to America this year, actually. I feel really fortunate.
Really?
Yeah. My uncle on my dad's side is him and his family are going, and they were like, there's a bed in the room in a room in the house we're going to. So all you need to pay for is your flights.
Yeah.
Do you want to come? We're going for 2 weeks, and I thought it's expensive, but if all I'm paying for is my flights, then it's so much cheaper, and I might never get this opportunity for a long time. So I said yes. But I'd love to go to Canada, because that just seems like a really.
I went
cool
there
place.
when I was like in 2014. It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I want to go back.
Yeah, really.
It's so cool. Like, it's just as you imagine it.
Really.
Like, really, like, it's something about it. It's like, I can't explain it. It's just everything's so vast, obviously, but it's just like how everything it just feels so professional. It's weird. It's hard to describe. Like, really, like, I don't know how to describe it. Just don't know how to describe it. But it's just mint. Like, I wasn't expecting to be as blown away by it as I was.
Yeah.
It is just like a cool America.
That's cool. That's cool, man.
Yeah, carry on anyway.
No, it's awesome to hear that. Because I do wonder with stuff like that. I'm like, am I just romanticising? Is it going to be everything it cracks up to be? So that's cool. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to go to America. I said this to my mate Jake. I said, when we're older, I want to. I mean, it'll be different when in 40 or 50 years time, whatever. But I was like, I want to get a really old car in America and drive Route 66. I think that would be so fun.
Awesome. Is it east to west?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Is it, or is it? Yeah, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like coast to coast basically.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love that.
That'd be sick.
Just visit loads of different places.
Yeah.
You know, because I think we see a lot of American television. We consume a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of places I'm like, I just want to go and enjoy that, like New York and even places like Philadelphia, see what's going on, New Orleans, that sort of thing. So
I'm watching this guy on YouTube at the moment who I followed him for a long time, called GeoWizard.
All right.
And he plays that game. I don't know if you've heard of that game, but it'll drop you somewhere on Google Maps and you've got to guess where you are.
Right.
He plays that, and that's how he got his YouTube channel started. But recently he's been doing this thing where he tries to. He did it in Europe. He tries to travel in Europe with as little money as possible with his mate, Welsh Greg he calls him, and also they've got to try and use as many modes of transport as they can.
Right.
So they've got to try and get on a boat and then get on a train for a bit and then ride bicycles and all this sort of stuff. And they basically have to beg, borrow and steal and ask people can you help us out? And it's mad how many people help them. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, because they're so personable. And he's a brummy, so he's just a really nice chap. And they're doing one in America at the moment and they're going down the East Coast. And it's just it looks like an amazing place to go. Just the crazy things you can see just around one bit of coast. Difference, obviously go through New York, it's crazy busy, and then you end up in some farm town somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just imagine that, especially driving it. Route 66, like you say, driving it would be awesome.
Vast, I bet, and just but like you say, it's a couple of hours down the road, and you're in a completely different.
Yeah.
What do I mean? Landscape, Yeah.
And it's crazy. I follow other people who go around abandoned buildings in America and stuff. It's just man, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Just go and see what's happening in some old church or something. I don't know.
But some old warehouse. It's not.
Yeah. Travelling's a good one. It's I find travelling it's a little bit nerve wracking in some ways, isn't it? Because you leave everything behind you, but I do want to do it more.
Yeah, have you got places in mind that you want to...
I mean, I'm going to Portugal with Gemma and her family this year.
Cool.
But I would like to go on a bit of backpacking sort of...
Yeah.
A bit sort of no aim sort of journey into Europe or something.
Kind of interrailing kind of vibe.
I guess so, yeah. I guess so. I'd be really nervous to do it, but I think it'd be cool. I think it would good life lessons from it and stuff and good memories. Been to Krakow in Poland.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's a cool place, man.
Yeah.
Really nice. A lot of drinking going on.
Yeah, I bet.
What they do in Krakow, right? You get a pint and they top it up with vodka.
What?
As standard. You have to ask for it without.
That's amazing.
If you want it. So they'll fill it up to here and they were they did it the first time I saw it, and me and my brother and his friend Si. I was like, they haven't filled the pints, what are they doing? She came back over with this cherry vodka and it's topped them all up. I was like, that's mental.
Tops with vodka.
Yeah, and I've never been as ill in my life. I was awful. It was my stomach I was in pain in my stomach the next day. But and I did some awful shit. It's just I just wasn't I wasn't in control of my bowels. The beast. But yeah, it's a cool place, man. It's really nice.
Awesome.
And the people are so stoic. Hard. But obviously there's loads of nice people who are really upfront as well. But what a cool place, man.
Yeah. I went to Prague a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Beer there is so cheap. It's €1 for a pint.
Yeah.
I was like, cha-ching. But they the beer's really cheap, but their attitude to alcohol is so different. So their alcoholism rate is so much lower than the UK.
Really?
Yeah, because they never drink when they're upset or anything. It's always about drinking when you're happy.
Do they drink with food a lot as well?
Yeah. So but it's a different kind of culture around drinking. That was something to me. I was like, whoa, what's going on? Why it's 3 in, why are we drinking? You're pissheads or whatever. But then actually it's just different.
Just normal.
Yeah. And they all drink Pilsner as well, which apparently is good for your liver or something. I don't know. I was a bit I'm sure you're just trying to get me to drink now at this point, but
drinking is good for your liver.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I suppose if you treat it as more of an everyday thing.
Yeah, if it's a social thing.
A drink,
but yeah, it's weird.
In the UK, we've got a bit of you know, it's like do nothing all weekend. I get fucking pissed at the weekend. It's just like it's a bit crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
We've got a bit of a weird relationship with drinking.
Yeah, there's no like modesty, is there? It's all or nothing.
So when you go out with your mates, it's like you've got to like everyone's got to get levered.
Yeah,
and whoever gets the most levered is the coolest there. Like it's like Sankey's always always pissed at his head and like being sick everywhere and like it's just crazy, but it is funny though.
Yeah,
I'll give him that.
It's so funny when you're not the one who's.
I hate being like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when someone else is like that, it's hilarious. Definitely. Fuck's sake. Vegetarian, vegan, or do you eat meat?
I'm vegetarian.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you?
No, I'm not. No.
You're dead to me.
Why did you make that choice for yourself?
Yeah, I went veggie. What am I at? 26. So maybe like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I think. No, a bit later than that. But like 4 or 5 years definitely. And it was because I thought at the time I was like, I couldn't kill a chicken. If you put a chicken in front of me,
Yeah.
so it feels wrong to have let somebody else do that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can understand that.
And so I felt like if I ever get to a point where I'm like, I could kill that animal, then I'll take ownership over that, and I'll
be chowing burgers and shit. Okay.
Just enjoying this burger from this cow that
I just stabbed. Yeah.
But then since then, I just really love it, and now the thought of eating meat weirds me out a bit.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't think I would go back. But like,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it'd be ace if everybody went vegetarian or vegan.
Yeah.
But I also know it's not. The reason I'm not fully vegan is because it's just not practical. You know, there's not enough options out there.
Yeah.
And so I get that for a lot of people, it's not possible. So I try not to go out there and be like, why are you still eating meat or whatever, you know, because everyone's...
People are very charged about it, but like,
yeah.
I think, I mean, the thing is, we are, what is it, the word omnivores, like,
yeah.
we eat both, but like, so we can eat both, and we can eat solely either one, like, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to eat meat, do you?
That's it.
Obviously, there's things in meat that are good for you, but like, you can get it other ways, can't you?
That's it.
Yeah.
I think I'm more in the way of like sustainable farming, you know.
Yeah.
There's a guy I really like called Nick Offerman, who he's a comedian who's on Parks and Recreation, which is like biggest show.
Yeah, I know you mean.
Yeah. And he is a meat eater, but he's really champions eating more vegetables, but also you know, like sustainable farming and things like that. And I think that's the thing that I really take issue with is like it's just about being a conscious consumer. I just try and do that as much as possible. I mean, that sounds really wanky, you know. It's easy.
No, but it's really important.
Buy from charity shops, but
no, but mate, I agree with it.
You've got to try your best, haven't you?
My dad's really big on that kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
You know, like sustainability. For him, it's like it's very like consumer based, like products and things.
Yeah.
So like, if he can extend the use of something, or like recycle something, like he runs an auction.
Right.
And he basically just sells like crap stuff. But he says that himself. But like, he knows that if he sells a little shitty lawnmower, like that isn't going to get scrapped. Someone might actually use it. So it's same kind of thing, really, isn't it? It's like living responsibly, like using the things from the earth responsibly. Like
that's it.
I think it's got a bit of a like cheesy, like, oh, it sounds a bit daft or whatever, but I think it's really important, and I think way more people now have switched onto it.
Yeah, which is really cool, right? Isn't it that you see it a lot more in social media and things, don't you? People trying to be responsible,
A bit more responsible, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's people who get on the bandwagon with it a bit as well, like businesses and that.
Yeah.
But generally, I think there's a lot more people who actually care about the environment and stuff.
Yeah.
And like where they get stuff from. Because we've got to this point where like you can just be you're so detached from like the means of production, aren't you? Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like we get stuff delivered now from Sainsbury's because it's quite far away.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, shit, I just don't even have to go anywhere. It just turns up.
Yeah, just sit and... That's it though, isn't it? It's so easy to let that happen, you know, and become... I don't think it's anyone's fault, really, if they get into that mindset, but...
We've just got very automated, haven't we, as a society, like...
Yeah, and it's getting back to that is then hard, isn't it? Because you're like, well, everything's on my iPhone, so why would I...
Yeah, even in, like, the time since we finished school, like, how much it's changed.
Massive.
Like contactless payments and things like that. It's just, like, completely taken over, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I think... Oh, this is quite an interesting one. I asked Hugh this by accident. I just asked it during his interview and I thought, this is actually a good question. What do you think most about out of these three things? Future, past or present?
Oh, love that.
What do you think the most about?
It's definitely not past.
No. Yeah, I'm like that.
I'm really quick to let go of stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
Probably the future. I think I worry a lot about the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is I'd like to do less of that.
Yeah, you think about how you're going to end up or whatever, like how your actions are going to change the future.
Yeah. I'm a meticulous planner, which has a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
But also, I think sometimes I could do with just chilling out a bit more.
Living in the now a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I suppose you could plan so much, but not everything.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. I think I'm on like the now kind of thing. Like,
cool, man.
I'm not. I struggle with planning. Like I have to like tell myself off a little bit sometimes for not planning enough.
Yeah.
It's like right now, I've got interviews that are going to be happening in the future. Some of them are in my calendar, not all of them.
Yeah.
I'm rubbish at like writing that stuff down.
Yeah.
And I try and get better at it, but it's just like it's weird. Like I love waking up. It's nice to wake up with a plan, but sometimes I like to wake up with no plan.
Yeah.
And just sort of walk out the door and go, see what takes my fancy. Do you know what I mean?
Love that.
But, yeah, I don't know. It's a funny one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think about the past much either. I don't worry about it too much.
No, I try not to regret things because I'm like... and maybe I'm a bit in a fortunate position. Nothing that bad has happened, but I just think it's not useful to sit and dwell on things like that.
No.
You know, maybe if I've done something and I feel like I messed up, I think how am I not going to do that again? But that's as far as it goes. I never sit and think, I wish I'd done that differently.
Wish I was back there.
Yeah,
doing that. Yeah, I know what you mean. Actually, yeah, I don't think that it's a strange one. I don't consciously think about it that much really, but like I suppose you how you're disposed, like your natural disposition is a certain way, so you kind of just know it, don't you, and get on with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a good question. That I quite liked it.
I really do like that one.
Last question I always ask people, and I've nicked this from Lex Friedman,
okay,
the guy who does some podcasts. But what's the meaning of life to you?
Oh, nice.
And obviously, it's a tricky one, but
yeah. Just enjoying everything as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Being around people that inspire you and that uplift you, and just being kind to people.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's all about. And I think music is such a big part of my life, but that all flows through that, you know.
Yeah. Sharing it with others.
Yeah, absolutely. Because otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know?
I've struggled with that, to be fair. In like, I was quite like insular about music when I was younger, but now I've realised it is great to share things with people, and it's probably one of the reasons why I like doing this is because like you like sharing with.
Yeah.
It's like having you on. I said this to Hugh, like having you on. I'll enjoy listening back to this. It'll make me smile and laugh and like.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it out, and it's like you'll be like, oh cool. It's like made the episode and it's online, and like it's kind of like you're doing something with someone instead of just.
Yeah.
Especially like electronic music. It's like it's all about being in the bedroom, like.
Yeah. Headphones on. It's
yeah.
so into, isn't it?
But I don't think it's me. When I did, I think I hadn't realised that for a while. So yeah, the meaning of life really is, I think, to spend time with other people and like, understand each other a bit.
Yeah.
Have fun. Yeah. Just gone all right? How you found it?
Amazing, man. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I feel when I do something like this, Not that I've done loads of podcasts.
Yeah, I've done plenty of podcasts, mate.
the one I was on last week. No, I try. I think one of the big things I try and live by in life is listening more than speaking in a conversation.
Yeah.
So when I do things like this, I feel like, oh God, I talked a lot.
Well, yeah, but
then it's this is the space to do that, isn't it? So yeah, I've had a great time, and it's been really nice to chat through things with you, to catch up with you, you know. And,
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean it's cool. I've noticed some things already. Like, what's one of the interesting things I've found is like when you're speaking to someone who's like the same age as you, it's very back and forth. When you're speaking to someone who's younger than you tend to speak to them more.
Right.
And when it's someone who's older, you tend to just sit back and they just keep talking.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'll just let you go for like 20 minutes straight. And it's like, that's a cool dynamic that I've never really thought about. And it's enjoyable. But yeah, thanks for getting involved.
Thank you, yeah.
Shake your hand.
Yeah. We're shaking hands now.
We're shaking hands. Yeah, thanks, man. Really good.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe for more episodes.